everybody, and welcome to a very cool review here on my channel. This is, if you've been following me on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, you've been seeing my progress on this. And you can see this looks like Hearts of Steel Shockwave's alt mode, because it is Hearts of Steel Shockwave's alt mode. This is right here is all entirely 3D printed on my 3D printer. The only exception to 3D printing is I have used small straight sewing pins as the actual pins in the device itself. Just trimmed off. They fit perfectly. They were just the right size, but it is a boat. It does not float. Many people have asked. You can see all the gaps and holes on the bottom. It does kind of float, but not in the way you would want it to. But it is Hearts of Steel Shockwave's Ironclad alt mode. Here, the paddle wheels are not functional. It looks cool. But it's not really a functional boat, but I like it. This was created by Sam over at Sam's Forge. You can follow him. He has a Facebook page just called Sam's Forge. He is on Twitter at, his Twitter username is at Sam_makes_toys. You can search Sam's Forge. I've retweeted him. He does sell the kits, the files for this on Etsy. He's not selling kits yet. He may at some point. He's talked about it, but I know he's busy with school and isn't going to be doing that. But he's designed some really awesome figures. He's designed some armor for Power Master Prime, the Season 4 armor. He's designed a full Lugnut figure, a full Blackout figure, or animated Lugnut, animated Blackout figures that transform. This was his first offering. It's up on his Etsy store, and I'll put the link to that down in the description where you can get the files if you have a 3D printer or have access to somebody who does it. But this forms armor for Siege Shockwave. And we're going to have to lift this up here, I can tell you, because he's going to get a little bigger than that when all this is said and done. But yeah, it does not transform with Shockwave in it as a whole, but when he's not wearing it, it does form his little Hearts of Steel boat mode, which is really cool. Now the purple, you can see the purple doesn't quite match. This has been a project over many weeks. At first I was waiting for a next paycheck to buy some filament, and then everything went crazy, and there's a lot of filament being used by lots of people, myself included, building some protective gear for hospital workers, doing masks and clips to hold masks and things like that. And it's not considered essential by Amazon. A lot of shipments I would order and it would take a couple of weeks to show up. Anyway, I looked for several purples. There are some nice purples that are close to this, but they're either sold out or of the wrong size for my printer. We're the right color purple, but we're translucent and full of glitter, which might look cool. But the way this is built, I can always pop these purple. I just kind of tacked them on with some super glue enough to hold them together, and it holds together fairly securely, but I could pop these apart and reprint a darker purple later on if I wanted to. But yeah, it separates into parts and forms armor, and we'll just go ahead and start doing that. The guns do rotate. That is one thing you can get here in vehicle mode, is that the turrets here do rotate. But we'll rotate this turret out to the side, and this piece right here, this is a little window that kind of clicks into place and holds this, latches this piece into place. So this middle window, we're just kind of push that in. It's a little panel. I'll let that fall into the hinge there, and then just kind of pull this out and rotate it up. You'll see there's some clips. That's going to be his chest piece. We'll set that off to the side. We'll go ahead and separate it all, and then we'll get into how it transforms. We can kind of see how these panels all come together. And it's really nice. Like, when you first start putting it together, it's like, is this going to hold? Because as you add more pieces, the tension of pieces pushing against each other holds it all together fairly securely. But then we'll take that, and then up here, we'll go ahead and unpeg. You can kind of push these in, but these are going to unpeg from the bottom here. Actually, I think this piece needs to come out next. We'll pull this piece up and out of the body frame there. Pop this piece off the back, and you can see how the paneling is coming together there on the top, and how some of this goes together. This is going to come loose. The feet are there. You can untab from here. Fold back in there. Hinge. There we go. There we go. You see there's some tabs here, pegs here that tab into there. These are going to be the backpack pieces, and they tab in. They each have half a peg that pegs into the bottom of that piece right there. So we'll take these backpack pieces off. Come on. There we go. And set those off to the side. This piece right here separates from this piece, and then this piece, these pieces fold out and hinge up. That's going to be an arm guard. I'll take these pieces off to the side. And then back here, we'll come lift this up, and we'll take this piece and we'll untab it right here. Kind of grab the wheel well and wiggle it down. It pegs on right there. And same on this side. And then we'll go ahead and get the feet off. But yeah, it's all 3D printed in solid colors. You can, I could always paint the purple as well. You could print it all in one color and just paint the colors on that you wanted. That's also an option. Like I said, the purple's not quite a perfect match, but it was a nice purple. I wanted a purple this color anyway, so I went ahead and got it. These could be dark gray. I had a darker, almost black gray that I printed, but these could be a little lighter, but however you want to do it. But you separate all these panels, and then we start putting them together. Now the first thing we want to do is here on the chimney stack, pull off this cover, which reveals his Gatling gun, and this cover, you open up his head, and then just slide it right in there in this chest cavity. Boom, there you go. And then we start putting his armor on. So we'll start with his feet. We just peg him onto, kind of slide his toe in, and peg the feet onto his feet. Just like that. And then these shin pieces, this piece angles out to allow room for the foot, and then this peg here pegs on to the side of the robot mode. Just get it all lined up, peg it on. There we go. And same over here. There's the other peg. There we go. There we go. So there's his legs are done. And again, you can see the mismatch in the purple, but when it's not direct, it doesn't match at all. It's a much lighter purple, but it's not as bad when it's not directly under bright lights. But you know, okay. So yeah, and then we take this piece, this arm piece. You can see there's a peg inside there. You just slide this arm through and peg it on, and then actually before we get all this stuff around, take this chest piece, and there's some little peg tabs here that are going to peg into the side right there under his arm. So just peg that on, come around here, peg that side on. Now his chest is attached. Fold that hinge panel in half. This piece, rotate the turret so it's facing forward, and there's a peg inside there. Pegs in up here onto his shoulder. And then same with this piece. Rotate that forward, and there's a peg inside here on the purple piece. Pegs this onto this shoulder. The gun turret arm, you fold this down, and this gun actually slides in here, and then again there's a peg, some buildup on there, but there's a peg inside there. So you take this, slide his gun in, line it up, and peg this onto his arm. Oh, make sure that goes all the way in. There we go. Peg it onto his arm. And he's coming together, and then we have the backpack. Now, there's a couple things you can do with this backpack. You can take these panels here and fold them all the way down, and then just peg them in like this, and that doesn't have as much material hiding behind his head. It'll look, get this hose out of the way here. It'll look something like that on either side, or, actually, it's right there at the tip. You were seeing all of it, but it was right there at the top of the video. Or you can store this panel just in the backpack, in which case you want to leave this panel up, plug it in on either side. And then you can take this piece right here, slide it down into there, and then fold these panels down on top of it to kind of hold it in place. But there is Hearts of Steel Shockwave, all armored up. And again, I plan eventually at some point to get a purple that matches his body a little better, but that's really cool. He still retains just about all of his posability. Now, obviously, this arm can't come down quite as far because of the big boat half there, but he's still got all of his access to all of his waist swivels. His feet still tilt down here, as well as having a little bit of toe articulation now with this extra piece. His arm still moves. He can still access his head. He can still rotate forward and back here on his robot mode. But that's a really nice kit. And it was very easy to print. I ran it through my slicer, and it didn't take a whole lot of work. Like, I just kind of oriented things the proper way. And there were a couple things I had to reprint because I didn't orient them quite right, and it messed up during printing. But for the most part, everything printed, fit together with very minimal cleanup and very little work on my part, aside from, like, you know, gluing. I printed it in all separate colors, so all these little black pieces, windows are glued onto the gray. The purple and gray parts are glued together. But very neat, very cool design from Sam's Forge. I'm looking forward to him getting the time to release more stuff because this turned out really great. Quick size comparison. Here he is. You can see he does get much bigger. Here he is with Siege Megatron. And now he's about maybe a smidge taller. I mean, obviously with the backpack he's taller, but with Siege Starscream and with Earthrise Starscream. And of course, because I had this, and I had to get him out to do a size comparison here with this, it is the Mastermind Hearts of Steel Starscream. So there you go. It's not. I don't have the Mastermind Cyclops, the big Hearts of Steel Shockwave they did, but yeah, I can kind of put that together again. Put together a little Hearts of Steel shelf. But it's like I said, really easy kit to print if you have access to a friend with a 3D printer. Now, he makes these files available for sale. He may in the future do them as kits, but I know, having printed this myself, it's a very time-consuming process. Like, I will not be selling these as kits personally. One, it's not my design, it's not my work to profit off of, and it's kind of how I feel about a lot of the things that, I get a lot of free files I find on Thingiverse to print, but like I would never print a bunch of them and sell them online. Like I've printed a couple like Baby Yodas for friends and things like that, but I'm not going to. I don't want to profit off other people's design work. But you can buy the files and have a friend print them. A lot of libraries will let you print all of this. Does take a good amount of printing time. I think I put in, about 38 hours all told printing this. Over the course of a couple of weeks. It wasn't all at once. It may have been longer than that. There were some long files to print that I just started overnight and then let them run. But yeah, definitely worth it. Some really neat stuff. Again, you can get that on Etsy. And I'll put the link down there. I think it's $8 or $9 for the files. And once you have them, like I said, I could print this as many times as I wanted to. I'm not going to resell them. I don't have. If I had permission from Sam and a bank of printers where I could constantly be churning out kits for this, like I would do it, but it's very time consuming. It's not something that I am set up for here as a hobbyist in my house with a 3D printing to make these kits for everybody. And next up, I'm going to try printing that animated Marauder Megatron. I've got all the colors I need for that now. So I'm looking forward to getting that done. Of course, anything Sam puts out upcoming on his site, I will eagerly look forward to. He's got some really neat designs in the pipes. And other than that, like, still going to be doing Transformer reviews. We got Sentinel Prime review is still coming up. We just had Scrapper. We got the last of the Seacons coming. Off-Road Bumblebee. We're going to have some neat stuff coming in soon here. Finally getting kind of back to business after a really weird April. But anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you get a kick out of this kit. And like I said, support Sam, even if it's just saying, hey, if you like this, go tell Sam on Twitter, say, hey, that was a really great job you did. Just give him some kudos, because I think he did some fantastic work on this guy and on this kit. And really had a lot of fun printing this and building and putting this together. It was something else. This is kind of like his Twitter feed is what finally got me off my duff and got a 3D printer. I was talking to him a little bit about it, and so to actually have like the stuff he was making was the whole reason that I got my printer. So to finally have one of his kits, having printed it, seeing it complete, and having it done is fantastic. There is the Hearts of Steel armor upgrade for Siege Shockwave from Sam's Forge. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.